Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, October 15th. We're going live here in Phoenix. I don't have anything crazy going on. I hear there's an election coming up. Somebody keeps telling me that. So I'm probably just going to ask Rudy who he's voting for. So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Corbett with the AZ Lifestyle Group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to find out everything you need to know about what it's like living in and or moving to the Phoenix metro area, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new video. We are helping people from all over when it comes to finding the best places and neighborhoods to live here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're even thinking about moving or relocating and you need any assistance whatsoever, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back when it comes to moving to the Phoenix metro. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's bring our good friend Rudy into the show from Prime Lending. Rudy, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm great. I'm great. Things are as we say every Thursday. It continues to be crazy busy, but it's always fun to jump on with you and just have a little fun. See if anybody has any questions for us and try to fill people in on a few little miscellaneous things about what's going on here if we can.
Yeah, crazy seems to be the word that we're using a lot this year, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just what we're going to be dealing with for the rest of our lives. So I guess I'm just going to get used to that. I guess you just have to take it and have some fun with it. Not try to let all the craziness, the negative side weigh you down too much. Even though there's definitely a few of that stuff going on.
Oh, the weather's beautiful here. I know I sound like a broken record the last couple weeks, but once again in the mornings, man, it's looking nice out there. So I'm loving it.
It's great, yeah. No, and I'm up early every day, and it's nice to have it still be dark around when I'm out walking the dogs at 6 a.m. It's right. It's still kind of dark out and nice and cool, and you don't have the sun blasting you right in your eyes and stuff like that. And then we still have warm temps during the day. There's been a triple digit that's popped up here and there. I think we set the record. We had already set the record for 110 plus days, and now we've set the record for 100 plus days. So hey, we're setting records here in Arizona.
We're overachieving over here.
Yeah,
I love it.
But yes, the weather for the most part is right where we want it to be, and cooling down a little bit, which is great.
I've got my and this is something I learned when I moved here. I've got my winter grass now growing. The rye grass, I guess they call it, or whatever it is that it's called. But anyway, last winter I wasn't quite up to speed on the winter and summer grass, and I didn't have the best looking backyard during the wintertime, during Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I'm pumped. I've got family coming over for Thanksgiving, and I kind of feel like an old guy that I'm excited about our backyard and grass looking nice for the guests. So
yeah, no, it makes a difference. We've done the same thing for it seems like the past 3 years. And I've gone through that same challenge. I don't know if you try to do that stuff on your own or you have somebody that helps you out, but yeah, I mean, it's so nice, having Thanksgiving in the backyard, and we typically do it because it can get warm during the day. So we typically do it right around 4:30, 5 o'clock. The sun's going down. Yeah. We have a west-facing backyard, so the sun's coming in, but there's trees, big trees behind us that kind of start blocking the sun, so we get a little shade. And then the sun goes down. It's the perfect setting for having a little Thanksgiving outside. So yeah, we'll probably not have as many family members this year because of this year, but because not as many people can come over. But we'll still enjoy it and have a good time. So it sounds like you guys will do something similar too.
Yeah, and it'll be here before you know it too. I mean, the month of October is already halfway through. We're already halfway through the month, and it's ridiculous how fast everything's moving along. It's kind of scary, but at the same time, that's life.
Yeah,
you just have to just kind of roll with the punches, enjoy it while you can, and just keep pushing along.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it'll be interesting. I still don't know what people are doing for Halloween this year. Like,
right.
is there going to be trick or treating at all? Like, I'm sure there's going to be people out there trick or treating. My neighborhood kind of is hit or miss. Like, sometimes we get hit hard with it, and sometimes nobody shows up at all. So it's interesting. So I'm sure it'll be a fun year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's really it's just gonna be so weird just thinking about what's gonna happen on Halloween, just with your kids, and just whether you take them out, whether there's going to be people handing out candies, or people are going to be afraid of touching the candies and the wrappers. It's just, once again, crazy times.
Good morning, Cindy. Good to see you as well. Hey, and Cindy, I've got good news for you, because you had talked about doing a Peoria video, and Chip and I went out to Peoria yesterday and shot some footage. So it's tough to cover as much as we need to kind of get everybody information, but we tried to hit some highlight spots and spent a few hours out there. Went to Lake Pleasant, which is awesome. It's been years since I've been to Lake Pleasant, and we had to go out there, get the drone up in the air, kind of show people some of the benefits of living in Peoria, especially Lake Pleasant being in your backyard. So Cindy, that hopefully will be ready to go by next week. So we got that, and then I'm trying to finish up the final touches of my Flagstaff little family tour trip, and kind of go. So for anybody who's interested in kind of what's going on and what we're doing in Flagstaff too, hopefully we'll have something on that. I'm hoping by tomorrow. So we'll go.
Yeah,
from
and
there.
if you love the outdoors, we had a call earlier, Greg, with a family that might be looking to move here, and one of the things they mentioned is they love the outdoors. They want to live somewhere where they have access to trails and biking and paths, and that's one thing I love about living here, is that whether you live wherever you want to live, there's going to be access to some sort of outdoor activities, and that. I mentioned it on our call that it's almost synonymous with living here, is that if you like outdoor activities, then this is a great place to live.
Yeah, and one of the cool things, and I think a lot of the areas around, at least the most popular cities, when I'm thinking about whether it comes to Peoria and like Chandler, Gilbert, even like places like Goodyear and stuff like that coming up, they have these really nice community parks, and I think Peoria has a brand new one. We were at Rio Vista yesterday. It's a beautiful, very well kept park. A lot of cool things over for people to do. And I forget there's another one coming up as well. But there's just a lot of things that you can go out and even with what's going on with COVID right now, they're big enough where you can go out and spend some time. Like we saw a bunch of people out fishing yesterday. There's just really, especially with the weather turning the way it is, there's so much to do. There's like a big bike path over there. It's really a nice spot.
Yeah, you can tell the weather's turning around, because there's a lot of people out enjoying the parks.
And thank you, Cindy. We try to accommodate. A lot of people. I tell everybody, say, hey, let us know what you're looking for, and we'll kind of try to do a video on it. But Cindy's the only smart one who takes us up on it. We'll see. There's a lot of planned communities in the area, and like when we were over there, it looked like there was a bunch of new builds communities coming up. So it's growing. It's there's access to a lot of stuff. It still seems like it's in the affordable category for a lot of people as well, versus some of the other neighborhoods. I mean, there's still, you can find expensive in Peoria as well, but from an overall standpoint, it seems to be still for everything that it has to offer, one of the lower priced cities within Arizona.
Greg, would you say that if someone moves here and commuting is a concern to them, and this is something that we get asked quite a bit from folks that are new to the city, there's not really one particular city that you can point to and say, well, if you live here, you won't have to commute quite as much. But is there any ideas that you have in regards to commuting? If there's like a city that you would probably say is a little better, where there's more concentration of companies, or possibly just not quite as bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's tricky. Is because it depends on where you land. Like if you're if you're working in Chandler or anywhere in the East Valley, like with a lot, because there's still a ton of companies going into Chandler, Gilbert, that type of thing, then obviously you probably want to be closer to there versus, I mean, there is a lot of stuff happening and growth in the West Valley and Glendale and Peoria especially, and you've got the 303 freeway that has opened up, which is bringing more companies up there as well, just because now they're going to have easier access to get there, and the land is cheaper. So if you're a business owner who's moving in here, or you want to find office space that is more affordable than some of the more expensive areas like Scottsdale, that type of thing, then those areas are becoming very appealing. And so they're going to draw some not only businesses there, but also their employees. So yeah, if you're living in Peoria, but you have to commute into the East Valley, then maybe that's a pain in the butt. Most people, you find people working like at Central, like in Phoenix, and then they're commuting from either the West Valley or the East Valley, and they've got like a 30 to 45 minute commute depending on timing. But so every situation is going to be a little bit different.
Right. Because
go ahead.
Chandler and Gilbert have been very popular places that I know I've had a lot of folks ask me about living out there. And then the next question is, well, is it too far? Is my commute going to be too much? And like you said, it just depends on where you'll be living. But in terms of a great place to live, that is a great place to look into. Yeah, no, agreed.
Cindy is asking, are the homes in the planned communities typically more expensive than other homes in the area? I'd say the newer homes, yes, Cindy, like the newer the community, you're probably going to end up being a little again, it depends on what you're talking about. There's price points all over the board, but I find like in Peoria, I'm finding you still have access to those 200 to 300 range and under 300. There's not a whole lot out there. That 200 to 300 range does exist. I was looking yesterday. There's probably 28 homes actively on the market that are under 300, and I think they're all above 200. So it's between 2 and 3, and but they're usually in the older communities like south of Cactus within Peoria, and then there were some that were like in that range that were on the north side, but were on smaller lots. They're not townhomes, but they're like they're tiny 2-story homes on like really small lots. So if you are looking to be up north and want a decent house that's in good shape but don't have to have like a big yard, then that could be an option as well. Yvez says good morning as well. Good morning, Yvez. How are you?
Good morning, Yvez.
And she's asking about the housing market in Surprise. And, we haven't done a video yet in Surprise, which we need to do. And
that's a surprise.
What's that?
That's a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, well, we gotta add it to the list. Do you want to do that with me, Rudy? Do you want to go out to Surprise?
Let's do it, man.
All right. But like, I haven't had anybody looking out there recently. I've kind of keep an eye on it to kind of see what's going on. Surprise, like everywhere else, from what I can tell, is still very active and doing very well. I'd say pricing is. When I looked at it when I was doing my video on the best cities to live in the area, Surprise was very similar to Queen Creek as far as what's going on. So it's got a mix of older and new, and I think that 303 going in not only helps Peoria, but also helps Surprise as well. Surprise used to be a very difficult city to get into access-wise, and now that 303 is made that access a little easier. So, yeah, and Surprise has got a lot of great features as well.
Yeah, and luckily with the influx of people that are looking to move here and looking at some of the suburbs, the infrastructure should certainly, improve as well in terms of, like you said, accessibility to areas like Surprise. So getting in early might be beneficial because once the 303 goes in and once it just becomes easier to get to these places, then prices might go up.
Well, and people talk about like, We talk about the influx of people coming in here from other states, and we've talked to people from all over. There's definitely a significant portion that we talk to that are from California, and California obviously is chasing people away for a lot of reasons. And it's not only chasing people away; it's chasing businesses away and business owners. Those business owners, a lot of them are coming here. because it makes more sense. There is obviously a lot of growth potential for people that move their businesses here. The tax situation is way more beneficial. It's a more business-friendly state. So with that brings the employees along with it, and people and job opportunities for people here as well. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. So a lot of those companies are coming out here, like we were talking about. That 303 has given them opportunities to be in newer office areas that might not be as expensive as some of the other areas around Phoenix. So yeah, we're seeing that, and I think to your point, Rudy, that growth and that coming in where people are locked in now, that growth will continue to push prices going into the future.
Absolutely. It's funny. Yesterday, my Uber driver, he was actually leaving Arizona to move to California.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't heard that in a long time, which was interesting. So we had a nice little conversation about that. But I told him, man, you're like the first person in a long time that because I hear a lot of people moving here. But hey, everyone has their different needs and opinions. So I thought it was pretty interesting.
I have two of my clients who they're family, and they are moving to California as well, and they have a really good business opportunity that is up in wine country, and they thought it would be a good thing for them to do, and I can't blame them. I mean, there are certain times, and trust me, I had the conversation with them as far as like everything going on with the fires and all that stuff, and that has affected them a little bit for sure, and it's definitely a little scary sometimes, but they feel like they're making the best decision they can for themselves and their families, and I get it, I support it, and I wish them the best for sure.
Yeah, and this is definitely not going to be a political conversation, but regardless of who wins the presidential election.
Who are you voting for, Rudy?
Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah. We need some jolliness in our world.
I'm going to copy you. I'm going to go with that too.
So, I mean, regardless of who wins and regardless what the national economy does, at the end of the day, to your point, it's all on your personal situation and how you handle it and how you handle your budget and where you move and how you spend your money. And again, like we can go in circles about this conversation, but your point about them moving to California because it was their specific, it was beneficial for their specific situation. Just goes to that. So,
and they have the ability to do it, and they can afford it, and it makes sense, and it's good for their business. So and I say this, if anybody has watched my Arizona versus California video, because I kind of break things down. Like I was born in California. I only spent a few years of my life living there. But I've spent time going back and visiting family and friends, and there's a lot that I love about it. I don't think I'd want to live there ever again for multiple reasons, but it is it's a beautiful place, and so I you can't knock people for wanting to live there because it's financially it's challenging, and there's obviously a lot of issues that they're dealing with too. So it's a tricky one. Sydney, real quick, you saw a video on the community of Tartesso that looked great. Buckeye does seem far out. Funny, I worked in Tartesso back in 2007, and I was living in Queen Creek. Talk about a commute. I had to drive 82 miles each way, living in where I was in Queen Creek out to Tartesso. That was when I was working for a builder, and I was selling new built houses that were now short sales because I think they finally sold. But that community is very far out. There's brand new homes everywhere. It's cheap because there's not a whole lot of stuff around it yet. You're probably driving 20 minutes to get to the closest grocery store. So, but it is an up and coming community. So if you worked way out west and your commute's like half hour, 45 minutes, and Tartesso in and out, then maybe it makes sense. because you do have access to nicer homes and newer homes, and the community's nice and it's nice views, and I think it'll grow, but yeah, as of right now, it's far. I doubt Rudy's been out to Tartesso.
No, I don't think I've made that drive yet. Who knows?
It's basically it's East LA.
East LA. Okay. Well, next time I need to go on a road trip out there, I'll when I get the family.
When you're going, if you're driving out to California, you can see it. It's right near the. If you're going out to the now I'm forgetting the nuclear proving grounds or something. I forget right now, but if you're going out and you're heading down towards Gila Bend, it's just past a couple exits past that. But yeah, it's a high. I spent a lot of time on the road for 6 to 8 months back then. It was that was a lot of fun.
We my wife and I, we had a bad experience with our first house and when it came to commuting. Now we bought our very first home in Houston, and if anyone has ever been to Houston, Texas, they are aware of the terrible traffic that city has. The infrastructure needs a lot of work, and it's just the worst. I mean, I'm getting anxiety just talking about it. And so we bought a home in Katy, Texas, which was out in west of Houston, and on any given day, our commute was an hour to an hour and a half each way, depending on what time in the morning you left and then what time in the afternoon you decided to go home. So 2 to 3 hours every single day, 5 days a week was our initial commuting experience. And it left a very sour taste in our house, where we have been scarred to where now we look for places that require very little commuting. And then I've got one of my best friends that lives out in Katy, and he doesn't mind it. I mean, he doesn't mind. He's listening to his audiobooks for the hour and a half. I mean, the guy loves it. It's his little peaceful time, despite how frustrating it could get for others. So, just one of those things. Commuting in my house is a bad word. That's a very bad word in our home. Yeah,
if you can make it pleasant, and you're like you said, an audiobook or a podcast that is helping you learn about something, or something that you get some entertainment value from, that doesn't. I get to the point where I just stress out too much. Like, drivers drive me insane.
Yes.
Like I just I don't like traffic. I can't do it.
I don't like sitting somewhere for an hour not being able to go anywhere. Anyway,
at that point I start looking for those new drones that you can just fly over people. Like, I'm like, can I get one of those? But we're probably still far away from that too. But what happened? It's 2020. We don't have any flying cars or drones yet. I swear that was going to happen by the year 2000 when I was growing up.
I feel like, with everything going on, I mean, they've got to be on their way somehow. This year's been so weird that I'm sure something's going to pop up that's going to take everyone by surprise, possibly.
Yeah, let's get some good news for 2020.
Right.
I mean, and to be fair, like I think with all the negativity that's going on, a lot of people have taken 2020 and used it to bring some positives into their lives. And I know from my family's point of view, like, it has brought a few silver linings here and there that we can take with and kind of build from, and hopefully do some improvements for our family, and kind of have some things that help. And working remotely has been one of those, especially for my wife and that type of thing. And so we'll deal with the challenges, but I'll hopefully take a few of the silver linings and make something positive out of them too.
Well, one question I've been asked a lot recently, I get this question asked almost every day, but it seems to be a little bit more, is what's going to happen with interest rates? Because I have a client right now in particular who is refinancing, and we have at our company at Prime Lending, we have what's called a float down. So if you lock, after you lock, and if rates get lower for one time without any fee, without it costing you anything, we get you the lower rate. And so I've got a client right now that's kind of holding off their refinance because they think rates are going to drop between now and the next 30, 45 days, possibly after the election. And
that would mean they'd go negative at that point, right?
Yeah, it means that we're paying you to refinance. Right. And the answer to that is, if they do go down, it's not going to be probably by much. And the reason for that is because right now mortgage companies, their interest rates and what the market is doing aren't necessarily going hand in hand, because mortgage companies are dealing with capacity issues, meaning there's just way too many people that want to refinance versus the capacity that they have and the support that they have to handle all that demand. And so what some mortgage companies are doing is they're actually keeping rates pretty much the same. So even if the mortgage-backed security of the bond market is improving, meaning rates should drop, it's not necessarily translating into what mortgage companies are doing, simply because they just can't handle all that demand. And it's just a reality. And yes, there might be a little bit of a change, but you're not going to see this huge drastic drop in rates from the mortgage companies, because they just can't handle it. So, and if you're looking to hold off your refinance, there's also that fee that is now being implemented on refinances by Fannie and Freddie Mac. So just a couple of things to think about. What you see in the headlines isn't always true, right? If it's on the internet, it doesn't mean that it's always true. So just keep that in mind when you're talking about refinancing or locking or making a move now or later.
I've gotten plenty of mailers that say I can get interest rates at 1.5%. So I think that's true.
Yeah, well, sign me up. I'll do a mortgage with whoever that is. If that's true.
Yeah. So I expect that to happen. Cindy has a great question, and she said, "Rudy, do you do many FHA loans?" And I think we can talk about this a little bit. I'll let you answer first, and then I want to kind of touch base on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Cindy. We do a ton of FHA loans, government loans, VA, USDA. We do all of them, and then conventional and jumbo as well. So if you're interested in talking about the options, you and I can get off the call or do it offline and do that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I wanted to ask you this, because I actually was just watching another YouTube video. There is another agent in our market. His name is Javier Vidana. He has a following. Mm-hmm. Have you seen his stuff, Rudy?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so I think he's with My Home Group. He has a following through, like his channel is a little bit different from ours, but he just talks like kind of real estate knowledge and has like a huge following. And he was talking about how our market has really been challenging to first-time homebuyers, because he works with a lot of first-time homebuyers as well, and that this market has pushed a ton of people out, especially people who are in the FHA category, because now sellers are looking at it as a negative. They're like, hey, I've got an FHA buyer versus a conventional buyer versus a cash buyer. And so Rudy, I can see that happening, and I'm not trying to scare you, Cindy, with this stuff, but it's happening in our market currently, and people need to be prepared for it as best they can. And I guess, Rudy, I wanted to see, like, if you're in your FHA dealings, have you had that type of challenge come up?
So the one question that is asked on a regular basis from the seller side when it comes to FHA buyers is that an FHA appraisal stays with the property for 120 days. So if you, I'm an FHA buyer, Greg is a seller, he's listing his house for $350, and then my FHA appraisal comes back at $325. And Greg and I cannot come to an agreement because I don't have $25,000 to come up with. Greg's not going to drop his price by $25,000 because it's a super hot market.
Right.
Now, that appraisal for $325, even if I back out and someone else comes in as an FHA buyer, that appraisal stays with that property for 120 days. So that is a very scary proposition for a seller in a market right now where houses are selling for above appraised value, above listing price. The fact that your house is now tied to a lower value when you want to sell it for $350 is a proposition that a lot of sellers are not willing to take if they have the exact same offer from a conventional buyer. So that's the reason why a lot of sellers and listing agents are a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger on FHA buyers. Now, if the home is priced appropriately and the market supports that value, and you have a 350 and the FHA appraisal comes back at 350. Everyone's happy. Everyone's good. So that's the reason why it sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge. But we're doing them a lot, and thankfully the appraised value has been there because the market supports it. And I think a lot of listing agents are also being realistic when they list their home, and sellers are also being realistic and at the price that they're putting it up on the market.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is if you get into a competitive situation, there's just like Rudy had talked about. There's certain potential negatives that could come up with it. So it right now it has like a little bit of a stigma. I'm hoping that turns around because it's like we need to give people access to affordable loans. FHA loans are a great opportunity to allow people to get into houses and kind of get things going, and we need to have that. So, since we're dealing with such a crazy market right now, it's definitely put a little bit of a challenge to getting those done for sure.
And one strategy that I'm doing with my clients, if they are initially FHA and they have the ability through some credit changes to improve their credit score to get them to a conventional loan, then we'll do that. So we run through different strategies for people to make sure that they're optimizing their buying power. If it means FHA is the right product for their specific situation, we'll go full steam ahead. If it means that we have the ability to improve their credit score before they actually go into contract and go conventional, then we'll do that as well. But it just depends on your specific situation, and we'll put together a game plan for you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We don't have any other questions right now popping up. Do you guys have anything going on, like any fun events coming up for Halloween or anything with the family?
Not yet. We've got a lot of house stuff to do, a lot of chores, but other than that, nothing planned because like you mentioned, it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen for Halloween. We do have a little get together on Halloween, but it's just so weird to party.
Thanks for the invite.
It's not at our house, by the way. It's someone else's house.
All right, fair enough. All right, you're saved by that then.
Yeah, I'm not inviting people over. Are you crazy?
No, all good. We're actually this weekend we're going up. I think there's like a pumpkin patch up in North Scottsdale, so we're taking Quinn up there and hanging out and having fun. Probably take a couple pictures. You know how that goes, but so that should be fun. We're looking forward to that, and should be good. And we also have people coming in town and looking for houses, so we'll be doing that too. That'll be part of the plan. But Cindy says, I qualify for conventional, just exploring options. Yes, good idea to explore both and be potentially ready for both in case the situation needs it. So that's a good, smart move, Cindy.
And one thing I do, Cindy, is whenever you qualify for both and we have the different options for you, down payment options, loan program options, I'll lay them out for you and in a video and in charts and graphs, and it shows you what your short-term, long-term savings. It's pretty cool because buying a house should not just be what's my monthly payment. It should be what is the best position that I can put myself and my family in for our short and long-term goals. So we can do all that stuff for you.
Agreed. Cool. Well, actually, I mean, we can hang on. I know. Like we could talk for an hour on this. I know for both of us, we've got a crazy amount of time. So once we get past this half hour mark, typically is a good sign off time. Any parting thoughts before we sign off for today, Rudy? Anything you want to pass along to anybody?
Well, I'm just super excited that ever since we started this channel, we've actually been able to work and help quite a few families. And it's exciting to see the growth, exciting to see the energy and the excitement behind moving here. And, I tell people all the time, Greg and I love what we do. So please, use us as a resource. We truly do care about you and your well-being and the position that you put yourself in financially and for the long term. So just super excited for the growth that we've been able to see so far in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, 100%. And we can't say it enough. We appreciate everybody watching and their support. Cindy's like, cool. Look forward to you both helping me find your forever home. Absolutely, Cindy. We look forward to that as well. It's a fun thing for us to do. It's fun for us to go out, kind of show people what the neighborhoods look like, what's going on, and then obviously let people know what's going on, and then try to guide you in the best direction. Real quick before we jump off, Yves has a quick question. What credit score is good to start a home application? What you want to take that one, Rudy?
Sure. Well, there's not necessarily a credit score requirement other than, to qualify for certain loan products. Typically with FHA loans, some mortgage companies as low as 580 can get you qualified. The rates are higher, the requirements are stricter, and it's usually a little bit more expensive. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we can work with you to get your credit score where it needs to be. Our company right now, it's a 640 minimum credit score, and if it's in a situation where we could help you with your credit score, or your credit score is just fine, then we'll explore those options. But obviously, the better the credit score can become, then the cheaper it is for you as well. Because the lower the credit score, when COVID happens, where those lower credit score loans were hit a little bit harder due to forbearance and losses of jobs and income. So those loans did get scrutinized a little bit more, and it resulted in companies increasing their credit requirements. Yeah. But there are companies out there that are doing credit scores lower than 640. You just have to be aware of all the different rules and requirements, because they do get a little bit more expensive because of the added risk.
And there are ways, like Rudy had mentioned, and I'm sure Rudy, you've got like a whole setup for anybody. Like if you decide to have somebody go through the application process and have credit pulled, that if there's a lot of little things you can do to improve it pretty quickly. So I'm sure you guys can go through that too. If it's something that you're like, hey, I've got this score and I want it to be up a little higher. Cindy's like, mine's 718, which is awesome. Good job, Cindy. Awesome. But you could potentially even improve that a little bit too. I know, so you could get that 718 up to like a 750, and I know like typically around 750 that puts you into even a better category too. So there's all sorts of little categories, like depending on where you're at, and little things you can do to help improve it here and there. It's a crazy system. I don't claim to be a pro on, because I don't understand sometimes why my credit score goes up and down, and certain times sometimes it makes no sense at all, sometimes it makes total sense, so it depends on what it is. But we'll try to guide you the best we can, for sure.
Absolutely. So if there's ever specific questions to your specific situation, Yves and Cindy and anyone else who's listening, please reach out to Greg and I, and we're happy to discuss those things with you.
Yeah, I'll bring it up here. Here's our phone numbers and our email addresses. Feel free to reach out. Let us know. We are always available to jump on a Zoom call with you guys. It's a great opportunity to meet you in person, kind of get to know what your needs are, what you're looking for, and go from there. So, Rudy, thank you for hanging out as always. I'm sure we'll be discussing more stuff here soon, but we'll let everybody go for now. Everybody have a great Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Bye for now.